Alright everyone, so I'm just making a video on my handheld collection. Now when I say handhelds, I'm just talking about the dedicated stuff. I'm not including smartphones, tablets, things like that. But the only exception to that rule is a particular Android handheld system I have from NVIDIA, which I actually have in the case here, which is the NVIDIA Shield. That would be the only exception because this is specifically designed for gaming. So I will include that too. But let's talk about these I do have a PlayStation Vita here, and that's the new Nintendo 3DS XL. All the other ones are more retro. So let's go through each one here. So this is my Game Boy Micro. Now the story behind this is I actually found this in a Walmart of all places for a whopping 20 bucks. And yes, I do have the box and everything. So yeah, I do have a complete in box. It's a little it was a little torn on one end, but for 20 bucks, why not? This is my PSP Go. This is pretty much a brick now because if you're not familiar with the PSP Go, I wouldn't be too surprised. This was a digital only version for the PlayStation Portable. So same hardware, just no UMD drive. You basically had to rely on the PlayStation Store, which Sony shut it down. So this is pretty much a brick. So I didn't hack this up. I'm debating if I should, but I mean at this point I don't think Sony's going to care because I can't even download the games off of the store anymore. This guy right here is not a Game Boy. It's actually a Quick Shot Supervision. If you never heard of this, I would not be that surprised. This was a handheld system, and you're going to notice you can actually tilt this thing, and it has these little feet that you can pull out, and you can actually play it on the table, so it kind of tilts forward. Not exactly a good handheld system, but it was technically more powerful than the original Game Boy. This was essentially modeled after the Game Boy, but it just didn't really sell too well. And obviously, all the games were done in-house, and they're all just like knockoffs of other games. So the only game I have for is Crystal Ball or Christ Ball. But yeah, this is how a cartridge looks like. Put it in there, then you just turn it on. But anyway, this over here is my Neo Geo Pocket Color. I absolutely love this system. This is one of my favorite retro handheld systems. Seriously. And it's a real shame that this didn't gain more traction. The only complaint I have with this, there's no backlight or, front light or anything. So you kind of have to rely on lamps and things like that. I mean, I understand they did it for cost-cutting measures to try to keep the price down. But, yeah, I still kind of wish it was there. But, one thing, this joystick here, this is one of the best joysticks for handheld systems I ever used. No joke. This is from SNK, and they're known for their Neo Geo arcade cabinets, mostly for the fighting games. So they use this for a lot of the for all the games, because most of the games on here are fighting games. So this is actually a really cool little system for fighting games. If you're a big fighting fan, it's actually a good system to have. This is the original Nintendo DS. Yes, this is my original one. And the sticker's gone and everything because I had hours and hours of use out of it. Even the paint, started smearing off. But I actually picked, I don't know why I remember this, but I picked this up at launch when I was dead sick. So I went to GameStop. You know, I was coughing up mucus. You know, my head wasn't straight or anything like that. I was just sick that day. But it's like I did not care. I still wanted to go home, play this, and I was playing Super Mario 64 DS on this thing. It's like, holy crap, this thing's amazing. And of course, Game Boy Advance. Oh yeah, the classic Game Boy Advance. A lot of great games. Now I used to have a SP, and yeah, portable systems tend to get lost a lot. So yeah, I do have this one. I wouldn't mind getting an SP, quite honestly, but I do prefer this form factor more than the SP. And of course, I'll skip the Vita for right now, but here is the Game Boy Color. I actually found this at a Goodwill. Had a bunch of stickers and crap on it. It's like, okay, I'll get it, clean it up, and it actually cleaned up very nicely. Now, it might look blue through the camera, but it's actually purple. But part of the reason why I wanted to get this was because of this thing here. Do you know how easy it is to find Game Boy Colors without the battery cover? Seriously. The fact that this even still has the battery cover is pretty amazing, if you ask me. And this still works and everything. Oh, okay, I guess I'll go with the Vita. This is actually the second iteration of the Vita. And yeah, I do like this system. I actually do prefer this over the 3DS, even the new Nintendo 3DS. But it all comes down to the games. And it does not matter how well the hardware is. If it doesn't have the games for it, it doesn't really matter. And quite honestly, trying to play media content off of this thing, while it's easier than the original PSP, still kind of a pain in the ass. And the biggest problem I have with this Vita is that the Vita should have been what the PSP was. But I still like this system. I still use it. I just don't use it enough as some of the other systems. Of course, here is my new Nintendo 3DS XL. So yeah, this is the new Nintendo 3DS. I do like this system. At first, it took a while to get used to that, but now it's pretty much second nature with some of the games I've been playing for it. And I actually do really like this system. And there's just a lot of great games for the system. Actually, in terms of all the current gen consoles out on the market, this is my preferred system. And of course, we get to some Sega love. The Sega Game Gear. Now, this one is a little bit different. Yes, it does look like a normal Game Gear, but this is actually the Majesco version. But I had a spare broken Game Gear. It's like, you know what, let me part some of that stuff out, put it in here. So I basically gutted the Majesco version, used the same casing that originally came in, because this is the Majesco version is actually black. The Game Gear, the Sega version is a dark gray. So you can kind of see the color difference. And yes, I do have an EverDrive for it. So yeah, I actually have the entire Game Gear library on this one cartridge, which is pretty cool. But I changed out the buttons on here. This was originally replaced. This is not the original, but the actual top part came off, and I'm just left with this flat, thin piece of plastic. I just never changed it. It's like, you know what, let me just leave it on there. It looks a little different. But I may change in the future. I just never really cared to because I think it looks kind of cool this way. But yeah, the nice thing about the Majesco version, just for little tips out there, it actually has the better screen. So there's no ghost, or I shouldn't say no ghosting, but very, very, very little ghosting. It's essentially it's night and day between the original Game Gear and the Majesco version. And of course, we come down to the Atari Lynx. I'm going to say this, is that I absolutely love this console. No joke. That's part of the reason why I actually left this last. Well, actually, next to last. The reason why I absolutely love this system is that there's some great, great games for it. I actually still play this to this day. I actually have been playing this all week. And just to show you how many games I have for the system, let me just grab the pile here. And if I can grab them, because it's kind of a big stack. Of course, I only have one game that the cartridge is slightly different, but all the other ones I have, you know, is all right here. So yeah, pretty cool. Now, what makes the Lynx so great about it? Well, the games. And yes, it is bulky, but it's super comfortable. And surprisingly, the games hold up pretty well to this day. This system came out around the same time as the original Game Boy. Put that in perspective. This came out, a couple months after, I believe, after the original Game Boy came out. And yes, this was more money. Yes, it did use more battery, but the games on here were really impressive. In fact, hardware-wise, the Lynx was more capable than the Game Gear. Yeah, the Game Gear came out, like a year or so after the original Game Boy came out. So this was able to do scaling, was actually able to do polygons, 3D polygons. For a system in 1989. How freaking sweet was that during the time? And just to give you a size comparison between the two, yeah, and this is the second version. This is the Lynx 2. The original Lynx was actually bigger. And yes, if you are in the market for a Lynx, get this model. And of course, we get down to the last one, which is the NVIDIA Shield. Let me just take it out of the case. And here it is. And yes, I do have a different part here. It's actually held by magnets, which is actually kind of cool. But this is how the system looks like when you open it up. It's actually a really cool little Android console. What's really cool about this, and just on a side note, it's kind of weird, okay, to have a handheld system with an actual fan inside blowing hot air out. I won't lie, that is a little bit weird, but the controls feels really nice, and how cool it is to play Half-Life 2 on the go. You just carry this around and you're playing Half-Life 2. That's actually pretty sweet. Game still comes out for it, of course, because it is Android, and the screen is a touchscreen, so you are able to play other types of Android games on here. You don't have to rely on the NVIDIA Shield store, which is just a bunch of lists of games that's compatible with it that just still takes you to the Google Play Store. So yeah, that's actually kind of cool. I wish I had more time to play this, of course, but I don't. But a really, really cool system. And that's part of the reason why I'm actually looking forward to the NVIDIA, or the Shield console that NVIDIA announced not too long ago. For $200. It's like, you know what, that's actually pretty cool. See how that goes. But yeah, this is my NVIDIA Shield. These are all my other consoles I have for it. And what handheld systems you guys have? Leave those comments down below. Like this video. Share it to everyone you know. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. You know, wherever YouTube has subscribe button. Try to say that quickly. Anyway, like always, have a good one.